How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Still going through it. Got some more email today from the court that the young lady is still pursuing something, but they keep denying it. So I don't know what's going on.
Why don't they do something about her?
I, when I was there last week with Gary, the judge, they kind of seem like they know the woman. Like she comes there and does this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know if they can't tell her not to do it because again, she has the right to do it. But they denying that within the last 4 days, she's put in a lot of requests to either try to have the case heard again, or the last one is what I just got from the court this morning that they make her pay the court fees
Mm.
for having me come to court, having her not being there. So she asked the court fees come to me, but they denied it. So she's responsible for the court fees now. So I'm happy
Yeah,
about that.
we were talking about that because we said we wondered if they would pursue her because there's got to be some costs involved, because it shouldn't have been brought, Edward. We know that. Um, I, I mean, it's almost verging on the criminal. The harassment. It's almost stalking and harassment now.
Yeah, it is because I had to block her on LinkedIn. I had to block her on my emails. I had to block her from calling me because she was calling me and trying to harass me. Hey, don't forget the court date is coming up, Mr. Bryan. You need to be there. And I'm not responding. And I'm like, lady, what are you doing? I know when this court is coming, and leaving messages on my phone. It's the same one that called the police on me about a year and a half that I was supposed to get married to her and I should get arrested. So she's been harassing me for about a year and a half now.
She doesn't sound right in the head. I mean, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry about that, but she actually doesn't. Because nobody could. I mean, thankfully, the judge gave such a firm ruling.
Correct. Yeah. Me and Mr. Gary, we stood there for about 10 minutes. The judge wanted to hear my story, and I gave my side of the story and what's been happening to me.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, the judge was a military veteran as well. So we were able to connect on that level, and he could see right through me that I wasn't scamming, and I was just trying to live my life. But unfortunately, my image is being used to scam women in sort of a way that this lady identified she was scammed as well by not me. So Mr. Gary was able to find evidence in her social media that she was scammed by Nigerians, but we don't know how she turned the story over on me that I was part of the scam. So we still baffled about this whole situation, why she's trying to attack me when she knows she was scammed by Nigerians.
Do you know, Edward, I really wanted her to be there. And the
I did too.
reason was Gary is formidable. She would not have known how to stand up to Gary. Because you saw his level of preparedness.
He was very prepared. I have a binder this thick of
Yeah.
what he prepared within a day. I was amazed of all the findings he found, especially all the different pages I have, and how he was able to find the sociology of how they're changing names to pictures to my actual post that I write. They're attaching them to different profiles. Some are not my photos, but they're attaching what I write. So it's just weird, and for me to see that they're selling packages of Edward Bryan as a package, that's scary to me. That I'm being shelved to be sold by these scammers as a package, so I can start up a whole fake page of me. I got to pay a scammer, whatever they call them, a price, and I got a whole package of Edward Bryan, my life story, my backstory.
It's like trading
Correct,
cards. The card, isn't it? It's like trading cards because you are a commodity then. And the one
correct, correct.
about this, Edward, on no side at all, certainly not with that woman, are you a human? You are a commodity.
Yeah.
And I really wanted her to be there because she would not she would not have lasted 2 minutes with Gary because he's formidable and he's so good at what he
Yeah,
does.
he's very good. He's very good. For him to trace back all the way back to where a lot of this stuff is coming from. He's able to get back to where it's coming from, not in the States, but back to where it's at. He's tracing a lot of stuff, and I'm baffled. Like, this is what's happening to my images and me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, like that day I was coming down to Florida to catch a plane to go to Alabama. I'll catch a ride to Alabama. A lady approached me at the airport and said, "Hey, I know you from somewhere."
No.
And I said, "Ma'am, what do you mean?" I remember talking to you. You look very familiar. And I said, "Ma'am, my images are being used." She said, "Is your name Bryan Edwards?" I said, "No, my name is Edward Bryan." No, I've been talking to a Bryan Edwards, and she was a Delta gate agent. So it kind of scared me, because now it's coming to my profession that people that I work with are seeing images of me, and they're talking, communicating with them. So I'm making my supervisor alarmed as well on my civilian side that my images are being used to scam women, so it doesn't backfire on me that I'm a flight attendant and they're thinking, oh, he's scamming women as he flies. So it's just a whole lot that I'm dealing with right now with that as well.
It's ridiculous. And the thing is that the thing is, Edward, that I know that they all say, Dr. Phil and all of those say, oh, victims don't come forward, so this is kept quiet. There's not enough about it on the media because victims don't come forward. It shouldn't be from the victim side only. It should be from your side. It should be from the side, because they're a victim once, hopefully. You're a victim 1,000 times a day. It should be seen from your side.
Yeah, Ruth, I can show you my phone. I have messages from Facebook. I have messages from TikTok. I have emails. I have text messages. I have calls. I can't respond to all this. And it gets to the point where I'm at home. I'm afraid of my life, because I don't know if anyone knows my address, or they're trying to break in, or they lost all their money and they're trying to get money from me. So I'm very hesitant to how I move now. So however I move, I'm always watching my back. I feel like I'm back in the combat zone. I have to watch everything I do. I'm very selective how I move, who I talk to, how do I answer the phone. I don't even answer my phone anymore, because my number is public, because I am an actor, I am a business owner, so my number is released publicly, and I get calls all throughout the day, strange calls, and it just kind of affects me to the point I don't even answer my phone anymore, because that's how bothered I am.
And you should be free enough to be able to do your day job, to be able to do your acting, to be able to carry out your business, to be able to do all of these. And those rights have been taken away by people that are not even in this country, and a problem, a crime that is not even being dealt with.
Yeah, the sad reality, Ruth, is I've done everything I can on my side of the world, but the social medias aren't doing anything about it. We report the pages, new pages are brought up. Report accounts, they don't do anything about the counts. It doesn't, as they say, it doesn't break any of the community rules. So it's like a win for losing. If I win a couple, I lose a whole lot. So I'm at the point I don't even report any as much, because they're triple that are getting made every day.
I've seen these. Well, we were laughing just the other week because we got some violation, because we're always getting them. But, because you can't call them scammers, because that hurty words is not allowed. But we got this violation thing. We were all laughing at it because it said things like, starting a relationship with a view to stealing money is not allowed on Facebook and not allowed on Meta platforms. I thought, well, you've got about millions of them doing it, but it's not. But if they say it's not allowed, that's all right.
Yeah.
They don't seem to want to do anything about it. They're going to say, oh,
Yeah.
can look, Sophie, please?
And then,
I'm the one. He is fly boy. I wouldn't be proud of it. And it just gets me that this crime is it's growing and it's being ignored.
and it's so sad. While we're on this live now, I see some names coming up that look like they're some of the scammers that are using my photos.
But
So
we've got Sophie and Sandy on the door, as it were. So they're sort of will be typing in as quick as they're coming up. So, but and you see, Edward, this is it. Because this crime is not pursued, I know they're in Nigeria. We know they're in Nigeria. We cannot do anything about that. Nigeria can, but they don't. But it seems that there is a reluctance around the world, and it should not be a reluctance in the United States, to actually tell it as it is.
Correct.
And say what it is. And they don't need victims coming, you know, they'll come and say to us, have you got a victim we could talk to, you know, about the losses they got? And it's the wrong way to handle the media coverage of this. They should be talking to you. They should be talking to Barry. They should be talking to Pierre. He had somebody turned up at the house. They should be talking to James. All of those from your side, because we're, as I said, where the victim is once, you've got it permanently.
Yeah.
And
It's to the point that even if I have a relationship with someone, I have to be selective of how I reveal this person, because I had to tell this person in my life, hey, this is what happens to me. And sometimes, you know, as being a male, why are your pages on this different dating websites? Why are these women texting you? Why are you? And it gets daunting for any person that wants to be with me to deal with that. And it's good that I have great people in my life that support me and understand what's going on. But I'm very reluctant of how much I share my romantic life on the internet now,
yeah,
because I get a lot of women coming now, baby, I love you. Oh, I miss you. Honey, where you at? Honey, and I don't know these women at all. And it's to the point they do this daily. Edward, where you at, honey? You're supposed to be my man. I love you. Where you at, honey? And they do this all the time on my social media. I never respond because I don't know how to respond to these women, because I don't know them. They tell them, ma'am, stop calling me baby. I don't want to be there very rude. I don't want to be disrespectful. So it's just tough.
I find this, you know, the scammers will use the words babe and honey, and all of a sudden they're the words the women start to use, and we recognize them, you know, when they do come to you. And I'm thinking, you just, you wouldn't have said that if you hadn't been in with this, you know, in with the scam. I personally, and I'm going to say this and it might not go down well, I couldn't fall in love with somebody I hadn't met. I could quite think I might like them. I could quite think, oh, he's nice. I'll see what happens when we meet. But to fall in love, we get people who say they're married to you. I don't know how many wives you've got.
Yeah, and that's scary as well, because I've had to shut down a couple of websites, not websites, but a couple of invitations that were getting sent out. This young lady's thinking they're getting married to me, and I have to personally call and send my information to a few of these websites that tell them, I don't know this woman. I'm not getting married. Can you please remove my images from these sites? And a lot of these women are getting heartbroken because they're spending money, they're sending money, and they're preparing. And I had one lady in particular reached out to me and said, hey, my aunt is really thinking you about to marry her, and she's sending you who she's supposed to be sending. She's sending you money so you can come back here to get ready for the wedding. And she said it's amounts of thousands of dollars. And that's a lot of money for someone that's over there, you know, in Nigeria. So they think, oh, wow, that's one person. How many people I can get?
You know, if we, right. So our Scam Haters United is a fairly small organization. So when you think of the bigger picture, but what we do is a fairly small organization. Now, when people tell us how much they've lost, not everybody does, but when they do, we just make a note of it. In 2023, the losses reported to us were over 21.5 million.
Wow.
Now, the thing is, they're big losses, Edward, but they're very big gains. When you think they've got that money for nothing, they've got that money completely tax-free. No, I don't go with the poverty thing at all. And Edward, a lot of people haven't got enough money, me included. It's not the way to do it. You know, it's not an excuse, or you know, it's not a reason. But yeah, I think this year we're going to have to work on getting them to see it from your side, from the guy's side.
And I think that would bring more awareness, because now it puts in perspective that not only that the victims are being taken through, but there's a centralized person that has to funnel all of this that's happening to me. So I'm following everything that's happening, which is the social media where scammers are hurting, and they all come back toward to me because now they're trying to find who is this person. So from all these different sites, I'm getting all the funnel to me to say, hey, sir, I see your images here. Hey, sir, you talking about like the one that we had battle on my post that was battling one of your admins, telling her, hey, he needs to tell my mom that he's not the scammer. That kind of stuff I get a lot. I don't need nobody forcing me to call anybody. I don't need to be forced to tell somebody, hey, I'm not the person you're talking to.
I had to defend my whiteness to that person, and I wasn't very happy. It was very racist to me, that person was. But yeah, well, he could tell his mum that he wasn't. And let's face it, Edward, if that was his mother, you were a bit young for her, really.
Yeah, undoubtedly, Ruth, there's a lot of that going on, and I think that's unfortunate. A lot of these older women, they're thinking that they're getting an opportunity to have a young man in their life, are really falling for this a lot too, and that's sad because they have a lot of ambition and money that they're trying to hold, and they're giving it away, thinking that, hey, I found a young guy that really likes me, and he's going to be with me, and it's just someone who's taking them for a ride.
Sandy's just said, thank you for saying that, because it was her. It was Sandy that was,
Oh, okay.
was talking. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I was offended by that as well because I'm not a hurtful person. I love people, and for him to go that route, it was not
Edward,
necessary.
there's two lots of people in the world. There is good people and there are bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else comes into it. Colour, race, what, you can be on the moon and be yellow, doesn't matter. You're either a good person or a bad person. That's the word. That's just my idea. But, as I say, going back to, we get contacts from the media all the time. Can you find me a victim? Can we talk to the victim? But they're narrowing it down by talking to a victim, and they get somebody there and oh yes, she fell for this, and oh yes, she lost $100,000, and people say, oh, that's awful. But it makes it sound like there's like 30 victims a year, and they don't put it on the pictures. And it's very narrow-minded, very short-sighted. We talked to a British guy called Steve Kelly. No, this wasn't. It was Cesar Camacho, and he's still in the army.
Okay.
And he was stood next to his wife in the kitchen, and his wife's phone went. Nobody knows how they got her number. His wife's phone, and she answered the phone, and she looked at Cesar and said, "There's somebody telling me that we're not married, and this woman's, your wife. Luckily, she's had to deal with this for a long time. She's got broad shoulders. She takes it," and they made a joke of it. It shouldn't happen.
Correct. And Ruth, at one point I was every time I post, because I like to post, I like to post my life, and I was putting watermarks on my life, on my videos, and I'm like, even if I put the watermarks, Ruth, they're taking my videos and my picture still with the watermarks of my page, and they're putting it on their pages, so it doesn't make sense. No matter how much I say this is Edward Bryan's page on any of my photos, they take it and they put it on their page. So as much as I'm trying to combat this, it's no winning for me. I can't do it. It has to be the women that are contacted by these individuals to stop sending money. I've done as much as I can. I don't have a voice as much as I've been, unless it's big media picking this up and doing more coverage. If not, it's going to be a cycle continuing on. And this is a big, as you said, millions. This is just from you, Ruth, calculating. Imagine other areas. This is about a big.
The bigger picture, because as I say, yeah, there are losses, and the losses are awful for people. But I'm talking about the people who've gained. I'm talking about the people who've got that amount of money, and that is shocking. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trendy funds, not impressed. But no, it's. I always say this. I've been saying this for years. It has to come to an end. I do say, Edward, if people stopped accepting friends or follow requests from strangers, it could stop tomorrow. If people stop sending money to strangers, it would stop forever.
Yeah.
And what we need to let them go out and work. And there's an army in Nigeria. They can go if they want to get a job. Let them go and join the army. And people are scared of saying where it comes from, and they really, really shouldn't, because it's a fact. It's not like it isn't like we are saying, well, we think it is. It is a fact. I mean, Gary is possibly the biggest expert in this subject.
Yes.
And if you ever heard him, Gary gets up at a conference to make a speech, and you never want him to sit down because he's so interesting.
Very much so. Very interesting. And Ruth, I do want to add that I found out that there's a psychology that has happened now to the victims, to where they feel that they have to continue on with the relationship because now they feel sorry for the scammers. And I've had to ask a couple of women, why are you still sending money? Because they told me they don't have any food at the house. Their mom is sick. So I said, are they giving you another scam? Is that what it is? And well, I just want to make sure that they're okay. I'm going to send them a few more hundreds and that'll be it. So I never understood that, but I know that's a part of the psychology that is happening, to where they can reverse it and sort of way, yeah, I'm sorry, I am the scammer. I've been using Edward images, but the reason I ain't using it because I don't have food. I'm hungry. And they give them a story.
Every 3 days, they're sending it on their iPhone, but they only eat once every 3 days. And I had one that he was an out of work tractor driver, and I thought to myself, this is a bit strange. So a friend of mine, we did a bit of searching, and he had another account, and it was where he traveled all over the world with the Nigeria football team. He was scamming for his travel, but when he talked to women, he was an out-of-work tractor driver. And I'm sorry, but they say is a lie.
Yeah.
Word. And because there's the magic word Africa in there, people think, oh, well, they have, Live Aid. They've got the starving people of Biafra and all these places. Ethiopia is a hell of a lot poorer. The East is a hell of a lot poorer than the West. The East don't scam. It is the corruption of the country, and that's got to change. But no, I'm very sorry. I mean, the one thing I'm really, really very sorry about is this woman still pursuing you.
Yeah. And just to this very afternoon, I sent Gary what I got from the court, and I asked him if he can briefly tell me what it was, and he was telling me, yes, she was ordered to pay court fines, and she was trying to dismiss it and put it back on me, but the court denied her request in making her pay the court fees for having them to deal with this. And I just hope that that's an example going forward, that no one else has to go through this, because I was telling Gary, when I got the letter, I was amazed and shocked that how can this even go to a court and be admissible to be used against someone when there's no facts. There was no bank accounts. There was nothing stated. I received the funds, and to the point to where it was all hearsay. So they took her case based on that, and I was taken back, because I was thinking, okay, this happened one time. How many more times it could happen to me, to where now I had to travel all around the country to go defend myself? And I was just to the point, I didn't want to do this one case. I promise you, Ruth, I didn't want to touch it. I was like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to court. But some told me just do it, because it was something I needed to see throughout this case, and to know how this can really happen to someone. And that's if I have to tell someone else going through this, the process, how to get through it. Because if I didn't have Ruth, or for you to help me out how you done, you linked me with other individuals that blessed me. I don't know how I went through that case, because unfortunately I don't have $3,000 to pay for a lawyer to help me fight the case. And I was to the point, I was like, if I lose, I just lose. But I can't pay this woman. She wanted $35,000, but she got scammed only $600. So she inflated from her being scammed 600 that it caused her harm, and she wanted it for damages, and she wanted more pay for substantial amount for something else. And it just kind of like took me back, like how can the court reason with her to say, okay, we want to hear the case and we want to hear the defendant and see how he manipulated you to be a fraud, to be a scam victim because he's frauding, and for her to say that I'm part of the scheme,
Yeah.
that I am a sex trafficker as well, that took me.
Oh, I didn't realize that had been added on.
As I'm a victim advocate, here in the United States, I deal with soldiers that have been sexually assaulted. So I was ready to defend my case in every which way possible. But for that to be in court and then my name to be in it, it was like, wow, like how
Real, is it? I mean, it's not real. Because, I mean, when you told us about it, it was sort of, I mean, it's something that I often wondered whether it would ever get this far.
Yeah.
But the police themselves weren't going to do anything with the case. You have to bring a private case to the because criminally they wouldn't take it.
Correct.
And I think they should start looking at her and arresting her, to be honest with you, for what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's time, let's face it, she's wasting court time.
She is. And I was going to countersuit her, but I just didn't feel my energy needed to be wasted on trying to do that. I prayed for her, and I wish she had peace and move on, but it seemed like that's not enough for her. So I'm very afraid of this woman. I don't know this woman, so I don't know what she's willing to do. If she's going this route, if she's still pursuing me. So I do keep my doors locked at the house. I don't answer the door at night unless I know someone is coming that I know. So it's just very different how I have to live, because if she just one of the women, Ruth, I have thousands of women.
Yes,
I have
and you
thousands.
don't one from another. I mean, we know she's a nutter. We know that she's horrible and crazy. So let's put her to one side because we know the character of this awful person. But as you say, what about the other 1,000?
Correct.
We
Yeah.
know the characters of those ones.
Yep. Yeah. And like I told you, Ruth, I was in New York a couple months ago. A lady ran into me I was getting something to eat in New York. I wasn't even near my home, and she said, "Hey, I've been talking to a Bryan Edwards," and I had to let her know that was me. I was at a Six Flags with my daughter. I was at an amusement park with my daughter, and the lady said, "Hey, Edward, we've been talking for months. You remember me?" And I was like, "No, no, ma'am, I never met you." She said, "Yeah, we were talking for months. I'm the girl from Florida." And I said, "Oh, man, I'm gonna let you know you've been talking to a scammer. That was not me." "Oh, I was wondering why, because you stopped talking to me after you asked for money and I told you I didn't have it." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, ma'am. That's just how they MO is," and I apologize. So that was scared for me because I was with my daughter, and I don't
Yeah.
know what had happened. Maybe she was scammed out of more money, and she was thinking I was there to give her the money or call the police on me right there at the amusement park with my daughter. So I'm always watchful. It's just everything I do, I have to be watchful how I move or how I communicate with individuals, because I always watch if I'm communicating with someone, they say they met me somewhere, I'm looking around to make sure that no one's around me ready to harm or hurt me,
Yeah,
or if there's security around that they can help me through the situation.
because you can't tell just looking at somebody.
Right.
People can look quite normal. You don't know what's going on in their heads.
Correct.
I talked to a woman in Florida who was threatening James in California, and I was just glad that this woman was the opposite end of the country, because what she was saying was foul. Now, I think in the end I worked out that she was all mouth. It was all words, but they were nice words, and nobody should have to put up with those words. And James had sent her to us, but you shouldn't have that because you've not done anything. And let's face it, Edward, we're 2024. I mean, this has been going on a few years with you, but it's the era of social media.
Yeah.
People put everything on social media, and why not?
Correct. And as an actor, I live my life that way because I have to show a fan presence. I have to continue to build. So every time I get opportunity, if I get a role or
Yeah.
a I have to promote it. And me promoting is promoting my life. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, make sure you come support. So I had a few people tell me, hey, you need to close down all your pages and just
No,
go hide.
no.
I said, who wins there? Who
Yeah.
wins when I do that? They win because now I got to hide my life. I got to hide what I do because I love sharing my life. I love blessing people. I love showing people that they can achieve their goals. So now I have to hide the things I do because people are using my images to scam women. So now I can't tell, hey, I'm doing this in life because I worked hard at. No, hey, just shut down your pages. You need to just be. And I've had women that have been scammed tell me this. You need to shut down your pages and stop putting your pages because you're too beautiful and women are going to keep going and I'm getting hurt because of that. You need to stop. You're the problem. How am I the problem? So why are you victimizing me again?
Yeah. And also, let's face it. So if you at this very minute now decided, right, this is it, I'm going off social media, I'm not going to do anything else, I'm going to close them all down. How many pictures of you are out there? Would make no difference, Edward.
No.
It would no difference at all. They've got plenty of stuff. And you know, they'll make a bit more.
Yeah.
Put some more, hit your head on a body.
Yep, and every picture now that I'm getting that has been altered is either the ones that I posted 2 years ago, and they're just doing what they call Photoshop, and they're putting images and photos. Brittany, I love you, I miss you, and it'll be a degree I had in my hand. So it changing these images
Yeah.
and
So I've seen that before with a little sign saying "I love you." And
yeah,
you know when the things that you put the watermarks on,
yep,
where the flowers or balloons or hearts across the middle of the picture,
yeah,
and that's to your watermark. And I'm thinking, well, come on, I can even see it underneath, you know. But what is very hurtful, Edward, is across the world, there are people who are sat there and they are gathering your pictures. They are photoshopping your pictures. They are putting them all together as if you were a can of beans and selling you. And there are people who can do that to others. And that's got to be, why should we let them be so
yeah,
anonymous? Because they're hurting people, and they're hurting people badly.
yeah,
Hurting each other,
yeah.
but it really has got to change. I mean, I'd like to think that what happened to you would be a catalyst for change because of the lengths that it's gone to.
Yeah. And I've reached out to my local news outlet, seeing they can at least give me some kind of help that pushes out locally. But I don't know if this is a bigger story than they want to handle. And I'm thinking
In America that I'm going to
it's
contact.
it's it's something has to happen, Ruth, because I cannot I seldom look at my phone now because I can't answer all these messages. I can't do it. And I get them. I get so many a day, Ruth, that I look at my phone. I just look at my phone by seeing if my mother or my sister text me or anybody like that. Other than that, if I don't know the number, I'm not answering. I'm not responding because once I do that to one, now it's a conversation. They want to talk more, and I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I'm losing a lot of money just by the way I have to move in my life now. I have to be careful how I do things. I don't get to do a lot of things because I'm just afraid how I'm doing it. Just make sure no one's trying to follow me. So it's just a lot of things I have to do in my life now that cost me a lot of money to make sure I'm being safe and my family's being safe because I just can't do anything now. I have to be cautious how I do it, if that makes
It
sense.
does. It makes a lot of sense, and it's heartbreaking. It just it's heartbreaking because it should not be like this. There is nothing else in the world that makes you so helpless as being used in scams. There is nothing else because everybody's got a way of having a bit of, you can decide what you're going to do in your life. yet that's taken away from you. I think it's a human right, for God's sake. It is a human right that you can decide to do some acting. You know, that you can decide to go to work, do anything, and still talk to other people, because I know that you do. I know you still, you know, carry on some of the things that you did when you were in the army. And it's just wrong. I did talk to somebody from Good Morning America, and she's just come into my head, so I'm going to see if I can get onto her and see what I can do with that. But yeah, it's got to change, Edward, and I am absolutely, and I'll say this for all of us, because you know this, I am desperately sorry you're going through this. I really, really am. I sometimes talk to some of the guys who's newly used, and they'll say things like, well, you know, I FaceTime them back so that they know it's really me. And I think you're doing that now because you're getting 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's going to happen when it's 2 or 3 a minute?
That's it. Yeah. Because I did at one time, Ruth, try to say, oh, I can respond to everybody. I can respond to every text and let them know, hey, it's me. But right now, I don't even waste my energy, Ruth, because some of the energy comes back. Oh, you were the scammer. Oh, the scammer. I'm talking to the scammer. I'm talking to the real Edward Bryan now. He said you're the scammer.
Yeah.
So you need scamming. Ma'am, I just videoed you. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to him right now. He's right here. Right. Okay, ma'am. Well, God bless you. You take care of yourself. Oh, I'm going to report you to the FBI. Oh, you're the scammer. And I'm baffled. I'm like, ma'am, I just talked to you. How am I the scammer? It still blows my mind, Ruth. I don't get it. So that's why I don't do it no more. I don't waste my energy. I don't do it.
You can't. And to be honest, let me be a little bit harsh here. If they can't see the truth in you, they don't deserve anything else, because they've got into this, Edward. They've got to get themselves out of it. You can't get them out of it.
No.
You didn't get them into it. And let's face it, we're all adults. We're all responsible for the decisions that we take in life, except for you, used in scams. You can't do anything about that. I can decide what I want to do, but you can't, and that's not right. Oh, Edward, I want to give you a hug.
Yeah, it's just tough, Ruth. It is tough right now. And I'm getting all these emails, and I'm getting this lady still coming after me. And it's tough. Like, man, I shouldn't have to go through this. And I deal with this day in and day out. And it's just tough. It's just tough to live this life.
Well, just be strong, because I know underneath you are.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of people on your side, you know that. We might not be standing there with you, but we're as close as we can be, all of us. And okay, we might be a bunch of, well, I'm an old lady across the world, and we're a bunch of old ladies. But we'll fight your corner, Edward, every day. And you've got Gary and Michael and all the others, and they're formidable people to have behind you. And I'm going to say thank you very, very much for coming to talk to me today.
Yeah, no worries, Ruth. I try to do these lives a lot, Ruth, because it gets the word out. But it hurts me a lot because I'm dealing with this every day. And I feel like I'm the wrong person because a lot of the women say I'm doing this to them. Why I'm not responding to them? Why aren't you responding to my emails? Why aren't you? And they just don't know. I have to deal with this every day. This is tough, Ruth. This is tough to deal with this. I deal with this every day.
You 1,000 times
Man.
a day. It's not just you get contacted every day, Edward. You are constantly contacted.
All day.
And
women are from everywhere, Ruth. I mean, I don't even know how to speak the language to some of these places. Indonesia, China. I'm like, ma'am, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand.
I was a little confused about the woman that was in Russia that was expecting you there, but yeah, it's, you are doing the right thing, because you can't You can't do anything else, because don't pull any more at yourself. I know you can't stand back from it. You absolutely can't. But you've done all you can.
Yeah.
And you did nothing to get into this. Absolutely nothing to get into this. You were stolen. I mean, it's like stealing you in person. It's like stealing you bodily. You have been all stolen.
That's it. That's the right word you just said. I've been
Yeah.
stolen, and I can't get it back, Ruth. I can't get it back. I can't get it back, and I don't know how long or how much I can take of this. Take this, but it's it. You're right. I've been stolen, and it's hard to defend myself every single day. Matter of fact, every single minute I have to look at an email or look at a Instagram message or I just can't and I can't. But the thing is that they get so heavy, and they'll text or they'll email. They continue to emails, and it's just so much.
Send them to us and block them.
And I block them, and I get another one. Then I block another one. Then I got to get another one. I got to block them. I block them. I think I block the same amount of, to be honest, I block the same amount of scammers as I'm blocking the women that are victims. At the same time, I'm like, how are these scammers so multiplying? I'm blocking to where I just can't block them no more. It's just too many of them.
Yeah.
It's too many. Block one, 4 more pop up. I block another one, 6 more pop up. So it just happens. It's like I can't stop it. And but I block them, and there's 5 more that'll show up the next minute. Hey, what's up? Hey, it's just overwhelming. I can't do it. I don't have the energy, and I have to work. So most of the time, I just leave my phone away from me, and I look at, again, if it's not my mom, my sister, or any of my loved ones, I don't reply, and I don't answer the phone to anybody anymore.
Well, if you ever get, and you know this anyway, but I'm at the other end of the video call if you ever need me.
I thank you so much, Ruth. You don't know how blessing you've been to me and to be in my life with this, because I didn't have anybody before I met you. You've been helping me knock down a lot of these different fake pages. You've been connecting me with any and everybody who can help me through these situations. So I thank you for you and your team, Ruth, because you've been an absolute blessing to me, because I don't have anybody else that can understand what I'm dealing with. My family, they get it, but you guys get it day in and day out, and you see this. But I deal with this every day. Like, if I post something, I don't know where my images are being used, and that's the sad part about it. I noticed in social media they always said, but I don't want my image to be used somewhere where someone's really being hurt, and they being hurt to the point that they want to kill themselves or commit suicide because they thinking, oh, you hurt me so bad, now you just left me. So when these scammers leave these victims, they come looking, hey, I found your image somewhere, and I was wondering, was that you I was talking to for all these months? And I don't say nothing. I may not respond, but I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm like, if I say, ma'am, no, that was not me, I don't know how I'm crushing their world at that point, to where they giving all their money thinking that we're getting married,
No,
and it's not.
how can I sound? I don't mean to sound cold in this, but they are adults and they got themselves into it. They cannot expect you to get them out because they have never been in contact with you. And they've got themselves into it, and they've gone into it, and that's very, very sad because it's fraud. But they've got to be big enough to get themselves out as well, because it's not your problem to get them out. You know, it really isn't. They've got to. They went into it, they sent the money. I don't know how then people can decide to come and search and think, oh yeah, that's him. That to me is the wrong way around. But you can't take the world, the weight of the world and everybody in it on your shoulders, Edward. This is not for you.
Well, I don't know how else to do this, Ruth. I don't know.
No, I know, but it isn't. We just keep going and we keep fighting, and one day we'll make a breakthrough. I know we will, but at the moment it's just hard. And send them to us. And even if you've got to send all of them to us, do a little copy and paste message. You know, I so would like to talk to your court lady. I think I did at the beginning. I think she blocked me. But I wish we could change things. I really do. And there's Sandy. She's another one that's standing by your side. And Joe's there as well. And Sophie's there. So, you know, we might be a funny lot, but we're there with you.
I appreciate it, Ruth.
Anytime you want to stick on a video call to me and moan and rant and be upset and just complain, it's all right. Promise me?
I promise you, Ruth. I thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Because I never thought I had to deal with this and they'll break me like this. I've been to combat 5 times, Ruth, and I know how to fight that. I know how to fight wars, but I don't know how to fight these scams. I wasn't built for this, to do this. I can go anywhere and fight a war, but I can't come here and fight a scam. That is tough. This is tough.
Because this is like, you know, secret. This is hidden. You can't fight something you can't see.
That's it. Yeah.
You can't fight something you can't see. I'm going to go because I want to save this so that I can put it on Facebook, because there's people not on Instagram who want to see it. But we all, you know, there's one thing I'm going to say, that, you know, my life was blessed when you came into it as well, because you're worth everything. So stay strong for everybody. I know that's difficult, but please do, because there's an awful lot of people love you very much. And you're worth everything. And we'll get through this. Don't know how.
Yep.
Bill.
Yep, I do have faith, Ruth, and I stand strong in my faith. But again, I'm human, and I have these fleshly desires of wanting to be not in this situation, not be hurt, and I still hurt. So I do my best to continue with my faith and stay strong. But I thank you again, Ruth, for being there for me as you have been. Just continue to pray for me as I do suffer from depression and anxiety. It doesn't help me out, but I pray and I pray and I pray. So I thank you, Ruth, for everything and you and your team doing. And I ask y'all, don't stop doing what y'all doing, because you're blessing a lot of people in the wake of it. So thank you.
While they're out there, we'll be here. So, you know, we'll always be there to fight them. So thank you. Thank you very much. And let's do this again. Let's keep getting the word out there. And, you know.
All right. I love you, and I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And you're more loved than you know. But I think you do know, really.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.